Guess who's back in the hospital again? So on Thursday, I will be 6 weeks post-op. I thought I was out of the woods. Turns out I wasn't. So yesterday was my first day without anybody else around. My husband went to work, and I had my 2 youngest kiddos. We were having a very normal day for us. I was actually very excited because it was the first time I was going to be trying to get back to a normal routine, right? Where it's like just us. We had the whole weekend with my husband home, and it was just super nice, and just kind of like trying to get back to ourselves, And I was very happy. Anyway, around 2 o'clock, I started feeling weird. I got this weird, like, numbing sensation that was, like, right along here, and it kind of went up my cheek a little bit, and it was, like, it wasn't super intense. It was pretty faint, but it was enough that I was like, ooh, something's happening. That's weird. And I started getting it in my right hand as well, around, like, my pinky and other fingers, and just kind of, like, up my hand a little bit. And it was, like, kind of hard to make a fist, and it was just tingly, kind of like after after your arm goes to sleep or something, just kind of weird. And it was kind of fading away, but it wasn't going away completely. So it was about 30 minutes of feeling that way. And then I was just like, it's probably a pinched nerve. I had just eaten after not eating for like too long because I forgot to eat. And then, so I figured it was just, I've been sitting in the same position for a little too long, probably. Forgot to eat, only just ate. Like, let me move around a bit and, like, see if that changes anything. It kind of resolved slightly, like I said, but it wasn't gone all the way. And I was, like, trying really hard not to freak out. Called my husband, and he said pretty much the same things I did. He's like, just, breathe. Like, can you do these things? Like, are you slurring your speech? And I'm like, no. Like, I'm probably fine, and trying to, like, get through it, And then after we hung up, because he was at work, so he had to get back to work, and I started trying to wash dishes, and then my arm just started tingling more, and I was like, no, I can't do this. Can't do this. So packed up my kids and drove to the ER. I texted my husband. I was like, I've got more tingling in my arm. I'm just going to the ER. And so he met me there, and I texted my brother and let him know. And he was like, I'll be there in a minute. And I didn't even have to ask. He just, like, showed up and picked up the kids for me. And, it was very, very nice. But yeah, so waited at the ER, finally got a MRI for my brain. And they had done, like, all these different, like, tests with, like, my arms and, like, touching my nose with my eyes closed and, like, smiling and, like, trying to see, like, if it looks any weird or whatever, But it was all one side. It was all the right side of my body. And so it was just strange. And so we got an MRI for my brain. And at first, they thought that they had seen a tiny brain bleed. They thought I had a Ministroke, and that I had a tiny bleed in my brain. So my INR level, they checked it, and it was only 1.5. For a normal person, it's about 1, but for somebody with a mechanical heart valve like my level needs to be at 2.5. So it is low. And if you do not have if you're not in a therapeutic range, is what they call it, then you are at risk of developing blood clots. So the neurosurgeon came in, and he was like, okay, everybody's freaking out because the tech or whoever, looked at the scan, said that it, they use this term, what was it called? I can't remember. But basically, tiny bleed. And he's like, so everybody's freaking out about this. And he's like, I looked at it, and, like, just given your situation, like, everything, the context of everything, to me, I don't think it's a brain bleed. I think that you may have had a tiny clot that was like breaking up, and it's just obstructing the flow a little bit, and that's why you're having these weird sensations. And as soon as we get your INR level back up, that won't happen anymore. So that is likely the case. So he wanted to do a CT scan because obviously these two things have very different treatments. So the one you don't want to give more blood thinners, and the other you do give blood thinners. So they obviously needed to make sure that they were reading the right thing. So after that, I got admitted. I got a room, and they got me down to they got me a CT scan. They got me down to imaging or whatever. Did a CT scan probably about 11 o'clock or something last night. And yeah, so that showed that I do not, in fact, have a brain bleed. I guess what looked like a brain bleed was I forget what he called it. It was like cavernous something or other. So it's just like a cluster of blood vessels. So yeah, that is not as concerning apparently. I don't know. Nobody's talked to me about that. I think it's just kind of a benign thing that can happen. So anyway, so that shows up looking very similar to a brain bleed apparently on a MRI, but not on a CT scan. So anyway, I'm really glad they have multiple ways of testing things so they know exactly what is going on. So yeah, sounds like that's what it is. A doctor came in this morning, kind of tried to explain all that, and then she said that there's a chance I could go home probably today with just some injections to like get my INR levels up. Right now they've got me on a heparin drip IV thingy. So fun. But yeah, so I guess we'll see. Like, I might be going home. I might have to stay for a couple days. I don't know which one it is. And if I have to inject myself at home, that's not going to be fun. But yeah, I don't know. So I really don't know exactly what's going on, but that's a little bit of an update. So definitely don't ignore it. Like, I literally, like an hour before I started having these symptoms yesterday, made a video that I was about to post about just kind of like an update. You know, it's like almost 6 weeks and everything, and like I haven't had that many complications and like all these things, and just like, you know, some tips and everything that I have found helpful with healing. And yeah, but seriously, don't ignore any symptoms, because you just never know what it could be. And it could be something like, I don't know, it's better to go get checked, because if you go get checked, even if it's anxiety, even if it's like nothing, it's like at least you're safe. Because, you know, the one time you don't go check, something bad might happen. So really glad I listened to my body, because there's been so many times where like I have physical manifestations of anxiety and I think something bad is happening, and I kind of like talk myself down. I'm like, I think this is fine. I've felt this before. It'll be okay. This time I was like trying that, but I was like, as soon as I started feeling that tingle come stronger on my arm, I was just like, nope, I'm going in. There's just, it's kind of like when you know, you know. So I don't know how to explain it better than that, but like if you're worried, go in, definitely. So I'll update you guys later.